Welcome to Inspiration Radio, Growth Principles for Humanity and Progress. Join us when we share information, wisdom, and ideas how to create an extraordinary future for us all. The future is open. We together decide what will be in it. Welcome to another episode here with Inspiration Radio. My name is Wolfgang Sonnenburg, and today I'd like to start with a story from my life. And forgive me, but it goes in my childhood, and maybe in the beginning it takes a little bit longer until you get the point. But I promise, I'm going to share in the end what's the moral of the story. You will have a lot possibilities of reflection for your personal life and other people around you. So, let's go in my childhood. Born 52. It was somehow directly after the war. Yes, it was a few years already, but I grew up in a time where most people were poor, my parents also, and it was so normal when food came on the table that they said, oh, we eat what's on the table and be happy that we have something. Because during the war they experienced not always having food, or they experienced that they needed to starve. So I had no clue, I was not in the war, and okay, it was so normal. We were then later 4, I got a sister, but also when there were a bigger family meeting, it was so normal that everybody eats the same stuff. Goes on the table and you eat what's on the table. I grew up, was 10, was 12, or 14. I remember then days at lunch. My dad worked close by, so most of the time he came for lunch home. And we were eating, and there were days where I don't like to eat that, or I'm full. But if I had something on the plate, I needed to eat it. My parents stressed me to eat it. You have it on the plate, you eat it. You don't leave the table before you ate everything. Partly it was because I put something on my table myself. So if you did that, you have the responsibility also to eat it. Can't do it back. But in general, it was more, you eat. We don't care if you feel full. We don't care if you like it. You eat what's on the table. And then, really, it happened. Everybody left. My dad went to work again, and I was sitting alone there, staring at the plate, at the food, didn't know what to do. Yeah, they told me to eat it. But, okay, sometimes my mom says, okay, no, Dad is out of the house, we put it away, or whatever. Or if nobody looked, maybe I throw it away. I don't remember all the details, what I did with this, but it's not the most important part of the story. Later in my life, when I earned my own money, I went in restaurants and ate what I wanted to eat. And I ate it all, and I ordered more. I invited people, let's eat. So it was a big part of my life, eating. And guess what happens? Yeah, I grew bigger and bigger, and in the end I was overweight. So, how to get rid of the excess weight that one didn't need? Diet and everything. It was so difficult to get rid of it, and because I always liked to eat. And then one day I heard a story. There's a survey. If parents ask someone force someone to eat, even if they don't want to eat. They maybe eat more, so it's kind of overeating. That's the whole system stops saying I'm full because we ignored what the body said. And they eat and eat and eat. So they had, I heard, made tests with a kind of soup or a plate of risotto, something where you couldn't see the bottom of the plate. And then there was a pipe and filling always the plate. So you eat, but nothing really changed. It was never empty. So the idea was that those who were forced to eat, because there's still something on the plate. The others who were not forced to eat everything on the plate, just could stop when the feeling is full, they stopped. I don't know if this is really true, but I heard this, and it was good for me, the story, because I had another reason to blame my parents. They did it because they forced me. I can't stop eating, so it's not me. So, let's leave it with this. And then years later, because you can maybe imagine there was other possibilities also to have stress with my dad. There were a time I didn't see my dad, not for 16 years, because we always had so much stress with her. But then I decided that is not a good decision, so I went to him and started to having contact with him. And he was remarried. My original parents divorced, and then he was remarried, and I got to know the new wife. And she was feeding me all the time. You need to eat more. Even if I was already in my 40s, she asked me to eat and eat and eat and eat. Not really forcing me to eat everything from the plate, but eat was kind of the same pattern. And I felt, again, a little bit stressed, and you know, my childhood pattern, and so, my same dad. So it felt like a problem. Years later, a lot of years later, she died. She died before my dad. And then being in the church, the cemetery, and the priest was talking about her life and sharing stories, and he shared one story I never heard before. Nobody told me before. And it was, she lived during war in, today we call it Danzig, so in Poland. Danzig was a German town at that time. But then, because of the war, and the Germans were losing at that time, and the Russian army came. So they were fleeing towards what is Berlin or West Germany today, and leaving everything behind. And my stepmom and her little sister were also fleeing and afraid of the Russians. And they took nothing with them. And during this time, the little sister died, was starving to death. And I heard this story in the church. And immediately I felt, oh, I need to apologize. I didn't know about this tragedy, and now I understood why she was feeding me or wanted to feed me all the time, because she had this experience. And at that time, at that day in the church, I asked for forgiveness because I thought wrong, changed my paradigm. And I left it with this. And maybe I leave you now here at this moment reflecting, okay, totally different story, and it changes the paradigm. But it's about much more, what I call then the moral of the story. will share it a little bit later. Let's have a break. So, you remember, I was forced to eat. I met my stepmom, and she asked me to eat. Not really forcing me, but somehow triggering the same thing. And then I heard the priest, after she died, passed away, in the church talking about her story, that her little sister died. So, we can understand the change. But now I'm even a little bit more older, and I could get an even different conscious. So, and it was really interesting. Just this week, I was talking with someone about those topics, and it was a different story, but it's somehow the same. Okay, if we have the information, we can see the person different and understand and accept. And then we leave it with that. But what I want to make really, really clear, my stepmom, with this wanting to feed me, was not actually really wanting to feed me. She still felt the pain that she lost her sister and that she couldn't give food to the sister. So somehow she was not trying to feed me. She still somehow, because of her pain, was trying to feed her sister. And that never worked. So over 50 years, everybody who was at her table was in the situation that she wanted to feed them with a lot of food. Because she didn't solve the problem, the pain that was still in her body. She still might have, because I never talked with her, but might have a guilt feelings. What if I could have solved little sister's problem? What if I have enough food? And because she didn't solve the problem, 50 years, he invested time, not only cooking, buying stuff, and serving, and never really could solve the problem. So what I want to bring across is, if we are not aware of a pattern, and look here at this example, she invested 50 years somehow to deal with the pain, but she was not aware that she was doing it because of the pain she felt inside. She couldn't really see, oh, because of my problem there, I now try to feed everybody. And the worst thing, with all her work, efforts, she never got rid of the pain. She didn't solve the problem. And why is it for me now important that you understand this? And that's why I said in the beginning, if you get the moral of the story, it can change your life totally. Because there is something in what we all should be aware of. She felt an emotion. And because of the emotion, she was acting. She was not aware enough. Why does this emotion exist? Why is it coming up? Why is it related to food? Because the pain, when it happened, was somehow, like a trauma, often stored away. We don't want to see it again. We don't want to feel it again. But if it's there, we just somehow maneuver around and work and do something caused partly because of the trauma, but it's not solving the trauma. Maybe it helps a little bit with the stressy emotion at that moment, because not to feed people would have stressed her more. Even she didn't know why it stressed her more. But, okay, so what if you take the time and reflect, where do I act because of stressed emotion? Why is it so important? If you take this example, if you really solve a problem, if you really solve the trauma, then the pain can go away. You can't make the sister alive again, but you can get rid of the trauma and the pain. And then, if this is gone, maybe you don't work on feeding the people like that. You don't feel the emotional stress to do it. You can do it, if you like, free will, but not because of the pattern, not because of the hidden pain. And we all have those things. But if we're not going really for the awareness, the so-called programs, patterns are running us. And we have the illusion of the free will to feed someone, but inside is something which forces me to feed people. In this example. And this is what is really important to get, because most people live like that. They have emotions, and if they feel stressy emotions, then they act not to feel the stress. Maybe consciously they tell themselves, I do this to help the person, or do this and that, but in the end it's just they don't want to feel their emotional stress. And I see it all the time, and what my coaching, consulting, or success and team building is, that I one day got this, and now if I have people in front of me, always looking, first of all, to understand why they're doing this, where it comes from, but then what can I do to help them to get rid of the trauma? Because then a lot of things will be different. When we were on the table, we were 10 people at the table, and this topic came up, what I just shared. I shared also that most people are lying. When I was young, I attended a seminar, and one of the trainers said, people lying, 70% of what they say is a lie. I don't know where he got the number, but it's not 70, not 75. I believe it's even more. The percentage is so much higher. Most people lie all the time. How can I say that? Because people are lying to themselves. And if you lie to yourself, you can't be true to others. You lie to others as well. Like here, in my case, my stepmom would always, she was totally convinced she was cooking and preparing and serving just for the person who's sitting there. She had not the idea, okay, I use this person because I have the pain, because of my sister. I really want to feed my sister. It was not in her mind. So that was, what can I do for you? You should eat more, you should eat more. But it's a lie, because it's not the truth. So most people act, talk, because of their emotional pain. And if you're not willing to really go deeper and deeper and deeper to find the cause of the pain, the trauma always will be there. But then if you solve it, open, it's a different maybe episode, how to solve it. Today is just about the awareness. If you really realize, and most of the time it's enough, the awareness that you see the pattern, and the most of the time it's over. You don't not even let go, because the more you know about your pattern, the more you understand it is just then a choice to do it again. Go through the pain. No, today I don't serve. No, today I don't cook. And feel it and go through. And often this is already enough. So, back to most people lie. And then there is a survey done by the University in Boston. There's a professor, Michael Pontalong, and he did a lot of services, trying to figure out how to help people to connect with themselves, with their true self, that they really understand what they truly, truly want. And it's this standard saying of mine is to say, what do you really, really want? Don't be stuck on the surface. What do you really, really want? And most people don't know. And the university, and everything, what they tested, came to a result. You need to ask at least 5 times. 5 times. Some people even you need to ask more until they reach what they really want. It's tough to understand, but here again, if people are not really aware what they really, really want in life, what they do, say, is not their truth. It's not their truth. They are not walking and working and talking their truth. It's about the patterns, the habits. Quite often, habits other people. You're trained to do that, what other people did. And you just keep on doing it. So, what if it's true that over 70% of the people you talk to, and I say even the percentage is higher, what if it's 90%, they talk to you and you know, that's not the truth. And I experienced it because I never was employed, I never had an employed position, so I was an employee. I always were self-employed, and that meant I needed to sell my service, my product. So somehow I was very early a salesperson. So, and then some people say, no time, no money, whatever. And when I later learned that it's not the truth what they're saying, I started to relax because I didn't need to deal with what they actually were saying. So somehow I don't care what a client or ever say, at least if it's the first sentence, because it's normally not the truth. I know it's for a lot of people a kind of tough cookie, or what do you say, tough truth. I'm really lying to myself? No, I can't admit that. Yeah, but check, deeper and deeper. What are you doing every day? Is it really the way you want to live? What do you talk to people? Your partner, people on the street? What kind of face you wear? Are you smiling all day or not? Are you really doing, talking all day what you really, really want? Is your life really the life you really consciously would choose if you have all the freedom in the world, you have all the money in the world, but you really, it's exactly how I want to live? For most people, 90% for sure, it is not the truth. They don't want to live like that, but they do it. And say you have to do it, you can't do different, and so they start already lying to themselves. They're programming themselves. They're creating this sub-personality, the persona, which need to do what they don't want actually. And that's why for over thousands of years they always said, know yourself. If you don't know yourself, yeah, a kind of persona is running you. Your emotion, and mainly emotional stress, is running you. Only if you know what you really want, you can use the emotion to really use them to support you to do and get what you want. Not the other way around. But this means we need to be ready to face the truth. And most people are lying. So, like I said, even in the sales process and the coaching process, or like one of my mentors said, people know what they want, but they don't know what they need. So they say something what they want, but not what they really, really need. And they need clearness, honesty, and so on. On the surface, they say, I want more money, I want the other car, I want this, I want better people, better team, and everything. Yeah, it is just a kind of blah, blah. Because, yeah, they know they want something different, but they can't decide what kind of team. And they don't do the steps. They don't go really for it. Because most people live a life they don't really want to live, but they do it every day again and again, and have created beliefs that they need to do it. And that's why I shared this story from my childhood, because there's so much value in, first of all, see parents tell people to eat, tell the kids to eat, finish. Why? Because they had a kind of traumatic experience. Like my stepmom, the sister died. Or like others, in the war there was nothing to eat. But when they forced me or they forced their kids to do something, war was over. The sister was dead already. You can't help the sister by feeding other people. But if it's unconscious, the pattern is running you. So where was your so-called trauma if you have a pattern? And hopefully you get it if you have whatever pattern it is. It is not just, I wish it would be different, I wish something different. No, see it like a radio station. You still have the same frequency and you always will get the same music. If you are not changing the frequency, if you're not getting rid of the trauma and changing the frequency inside, you will never get different results. Are you willing and ready to go there where you need to change the frequency? This is one thing. Then parents, bosses, If you force people to do something, then you see what can happen. Overweight, stressing other people, and go on. It is not really helping them that they can live their true self, their intrinsic motivation. So the best what you could do with forcing people is to get a trauma and create a pattern that they do something out of fear or out of wrong programming. But that's very hard creating a really winning team, because nobody then can live the full potential. You always, if you force like this, reducing people, making them smaller, like you call it, even bonsai, even if you like it, that the bonsai looks cute, but the full power of the plant is gone. And that's how we quite often treat people. So, and then if you create employees or kids like that, and understand now they have emotional pain, and they forget where it really comes from, what the real cause of the pain is. Now they have a pattern and have the emotional pain. So they will live the same life with just dealing with their emotional pain and not living the truth, not living to the full potential. And if you want the best for your kids, don't force them. Let them grow. The best what you can do for a plant is taking care of the environment. Is there enough water? Is there enough light? Is the temperature right? And is enough minerals in the ground? So you need fertilizer or whatever. But you don't need to do anything with the plant. You don't need to pull. The plant will always grow the best it can if the environment is okay. Only if we want to change the direction, then we put sticks in and everything, that we get it, like it, good for us. But nature doesn't really need it. So, are we really supporting us that we can live our true nature full out? Are we really in team and relationships with kids, with employees, doing the best that they really can live, the full potential? And here again, when I'm in sales or in consulting, I don't care so much what people say, because 90% of what they say is a lie, is what they believe, what the sub-personality is telling me, but not the true self, what they really, really want. Yes, there are people who live their true self, and they know exactly what to. But the percentage, guess, 3%? I give you 5%. That's the maximum. Harvard said 3%. So at least less than 10%. The rest believes I act by free will. My stepmom had the idea. It's her free will to be in the kitchen and cook. It was her free will to serve. It was her free will to tell Wolfgang, eat more. But it wasn't. So that's why my clients can say what they want. I listen to get a feeling in which direction I need to dig deeper. And I try them to look at the pattern and stop the pattern. And then you will see if they need to stop a pattern. It's like any other addiction. It's tough to stop it. It feels extremely uncomfortable. Because we as an organism, we're living with chemicals, electricity, energy flow. So what we call addiction is, someone maybe takes drugs, and that we call addiction. Or maybe he smokes and is addicted to that. Nothing of that. You create a persona, and this persona needs a special chemical cocktail in you, and all the cells get addicted to that because they think we need that. And if you train your system, it doesn't matter if it's sugar or whatever drug, and if you want to change something, it feels strange. But that's what we all need to go through to figure out what is our true self, what we really want. And can I live without it? In my book, Better the Whole World Against Me, My Soul, I talk about it. And this is a difficult thing, but it makes life so easy. If you say, discover more and more your traumas, more and more your patterns, and you can let go of this and say, I don't need it. Then suddenly you don't need, you're out of the neediness. And then comes the free will to choose what you really, really want. And this is so important for the individual. So we could say, I don't care about my neighbor, I don't care about other people, I just do this for myself. But I really recommend understanding it on a really different level as well. If people are stressed by their emotion and act because of stressy emotions, and they're really ready to act even if they hurt themselves and not really healing themselves, like my stepmom, maybe you could say they were not really hurting herself, but she didn't solve her trauma. So for 50 years she needed to do something. What not helping her to get rid of the trauma. But some other people, and you can maybe say they're paranoid or whatever, but in the end you always see this is emotional stress, what they force them to do. Something what they, as a natural person, wouldn't do. So now look at politics and everything, look at your colleagues, people around you, and you will see most of them act because their emotional stress forces them to do something. They are not relaxed. They're not, let's talk what we do. I reflect and then I decide. No. So my thesis here is, the more we ourselves, but the more other people really understand and not really reacting because of their emotions, we have a more peaceful society. We have a more kind of adult society where we can talk and create win-win situations. What do you really want? What I really want? Let's sit together and create that you get what you really, really want, that I get what I really, really want. But at the moment we only have stress with your emotions, we're directly in the fight situation. And look at the news. If it's now the war in Ukraine, is what we see in the politics in America, everywhere we experience, we see the emotional stress, and not relaxed people decide what could be the next wonderful step for our society be. What could be the next level of quality for us be? And let's go for it. And yes, we need the competition of ideas, but we don't need the emotional stress. And that's something totally different. The more emotional stress we have, the more ideology we have, we create the stress. Because if I really really a strong religion, ideology, or whatever, then I start to protect the idea and not the nature, and not the reality, and not the people. And now I'm fighting. You believe something else? Boom, I need to fight you. Because I have stress to allow you to think something totally different, to believe something totally different. Why do I have a stress? Because I have kind of pain in myself which doesn't allow that I think different, that I accept different people. Like simply I was trained how to look, because what to dress. And we had Sunday clothes. So I learned not to wear in the week Sunday clothes. When I started traveling the world, on the plane, when I was sitting for a long time or even laying down, I couldn't have the best dress, not the Sunday clothes. So simple, I got guilt feelings. Some people maybe today laugh about it, but they have it maybe somewhere else. The idea is have nothing like this, always free. And then you can allow other people also to be totally free. So, to bring this to an end, emotional stress is trained most from the outside, from parents who are stronger, bosses and everything, because we are not training to be free, to be totally free. Most people don't have this in their childhood. But if you, an adult, start with the awareness every day. Why did I do that today? Was this a reaction to emotional stress? Or did I reflect and decided, I do this. I love to do this. And is my focus on win-win? And the word winspiration means to be inspired. So be in spirit, not with the emotion, with your higher self, with your soul, however you call it. And then the best version of yourself in your highest interest will emerge. And you can live an extremely happy and fulfilled life. But stop lying to yourself. Go for your real truth, what you really, really want in life. So, may the best come to you. I am Wolfgang Sonnenburg, and I wish you to be always winspired.